These days, faith-based clubs are no longer guaranteed a safe space on college campuses. The latest example, InterVarsity Christian Fellowship at Wayne State University in Michigan. InterVarsity wants the ability to select leaders who share the ministry's beliefs, but Wayne State says that's discriminatory. InterVarsity is asking a federal court to make a decision in the case. And here to explain more is Lori Windham, senior counsel at Becket. Becket is a nonprofit law firm that supports free expression for all religious traditions. Lori, thanks so much for joining us. The university says InterVarsity leadership policy is discriminatory. What is your response to that?
This is absolutely not discriminatory. InterVarsity is just asking to do what other groups on campus have been doing for many years. They're merely asking to have leaders who share the same beliefs as the group they're leading. InterVarsity student leaders focus mainly on Bible study, prayer, and worship. They make a very simple request, which is that their Bible study leaders actually believe in the Bible. Whereas Wayne State has many other clubs who require that their leaders share their faith. The college Republicans can require their leader to be a Republican. The college Democrats can require their leader to be a Democrat. So I don't understand why it's suddenly a violation of university policy for InterVarsity to ask its Bible study leaders to believe the Bible.
The situation at Wayne State has been going on for some time. How has InterVarsity managed to conduct its ministry while this legal situation is playing out?
Well, this has really placed some difficulties on the university, on InterVarsity. When the university first kicked them off, they were kept out of the student organizations fair. They were actually forced to rent a table downstairs in a hallway, away from where all the other student groups were able to meet. They had to pay a fee every time they wanted to reserve a room for a Bible study. After this lawsuit started, Wayne State did the right thing and allowed InterVarsity back on campus. We were thrilled. Unfortunately, then they turned around and in federal court said that they had the right to kick InterVarsity off campus anytime. They said InterVarsity was violating the policy and they're asking the federal courts to uphold their rights to decide who gets to be a Christian student group's leaders.
Other faith-based groups on other college campuses have also had to fight non-discrimination policies. Is this case similar? Do you see the Supreme Court ultimately having to make a decision here?
I think the Supreme Court ultimately will have to step in here because it's some of its own decisions that have caused some confusion and led universities to do the wrong thing. This case is very similar to some other cases out there, most notably the University of Iowa first kicked off a Christian student group because of its religious beliefs and traditional Christian teachings about marriage, and then followed that up and kicked 40 other groups off campus, claiming that they were violating the university's policy. A federal court has ruled against them, and yet it's now under appeal to a federal appeals court. The University of Iowa still hasn't given up the fight, and so I'm really disturbed to see this trend that we're seeing around the country of universities who think that they get to decide who a religious group's leaders ought to be.
Lori Windham with Becket, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much for having me on.